Welcome back to FS1. I'm Mike Francesa. There's a story out there. It's a young man, Deshaun Jackson. Apparently, they're concerned about some of the companies keeping off the field. I think they think he's a gangster or something like that. And let me tell you, I've rolled with the Latin Kings in Philly, and no one's ever heard of the guy. I've also checked with Crenshaw Mafia. There's Rolling 20s, Frosty Spoon, clap clap. Capping and. Maybe it's a jet, because once you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. Maybe that, jet sharks, who knows? It's crazy. You know what? Let's take a break. We'll take your calls after this because the box score starts right now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you because I probably am.
Howard Collins for box score.
Welcome to the box score. I'm Brock here in Los Angeles, and the Danettes are joining us from Milford, Connecticut. Huge thanks to Mike Francesa for helping us out there. He'll be back later in the show. Well, let's get to today's show. And once again, it featured McLovin not carrying his weight and letting DP pick the poll question for him. Seton, how is Dan able to think of such great poll questions on the fly?
Well, I think mostly because when Dan thinks of the poll question, it already passes. So there's none of this debate. It's like, oh, well, I'm in, so this is the one that I want. And then everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's a really, really good one. And then it sort of goes from there. I will say, though, that there's probably a little bit more that goes on behind the scenes to sort of help Dan come to that great poll question conclusion. It usually comes from some type of discussion we're all having.
Is there a man behind the man? Is that what we're trying to say?
I would say that there's men behind the man, but you can read into that as you will.
Okay, it is red. Okay, the poll question basically came down to whose career would you rather have, Kobe or Jeter? And Jeter's case was backed up magnificently by the dating diamond list. Fritzy, rattle those off real quick, and let's each give our favorites.
All right, we got catcher Minka Kelly, pitcher Hannah Davis, first baseman first base woman Jordana Brewster, second base Adriana Lima, shortstop Scarlett Johansson, third base Vanessa Manillo, left field Mariah Carey, center field Jessica Alba, right field Jessica Biel, and designated hitter Tyra Banks.
Who's your favorite, Fritzy?
I got to lean towards Adriana Lima with Jessica Alba at a very close second there.
Wow. By the way, just a note, that team's actually better than the Houston Astros jersey you're wearing right now.
Yeah, actually athletically better.
I picked Scarlett Johansson on the show, and then I regretted that. I think I'm going to go Jessica Alba.
I'm going to stick with Minka Kelly. Like I said, she's as hot or hotter than the rest of them, and plus the Friday Night Lights stories, bonus coverage.
I immediately went to a week on the beach, and I couldn't think of anything other than Adriana Lima, so...
I would like to be caught stealing and in a hot box, first or second or third, doesn't matter. Maybe tagged out by Scarlett Johansson. Okay, the poll was brought on by the news of Tiger Woods missing the Masters due to back issues. Fritzy, apparently you have a little bit of hitch in your step when it comes to golf clubs. Please explain to us what's going on here.
Yeah, basically, I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't golf. I've never played a round of golf. I played a lot of putt-putt, a lot of mini golf back in the days in Brooklyn. But in spite of anyone's efforts among the Danettes and Dan to try to help me out, it's just I pick up anything and it feels just like a baseball bat, and I just don't know how to swing or move my feet or anything like that.
Well, Paulie went into the box to comment on Fritzy's swing. Let's see what he said.
I know I have an ugly golf swing. I mean, it's not pretty at all. And Dan jabbed my golf swing and he compared it to Fritzy's, which is, I won't take that. I won't stand for that. I mean, I know my golf swing isn't pretty, but I believe I'm the second best golfer in the room to Dan. I know Seton could pipe it and hit it long, but again, if you can't putt and you can't chip, what does it matter? So, being compared to Fritzy with my golf swing, as ugly as my golf swing is, I think I could score better than Fritzy. Oh.
That's pretty offensive by Dan. That's really stepping over the line. I've seen Paulie and the rest of the guys. They have something that resembles a golf swing, and to make any type of comparison between what you saw me do and what Paulie and the other guys can do, that's just way over the line by Dan.
Yeah,
and Paulie has every right to be very offended by that.
I think we need a tournament. I think we need a Danette tournament because I can see Paulie's argument, but I think I'd put my money on Seton in a close match.
Well, the one thing Paul definitely has in his favor is that he hits the ball straight more consistently. I wouldn't say that I can't putt and I can't chip. But if there's anybody in the room of the Danettes that's going to sort of challenge me, it would definitely be Paul.
Yeah, I think it'd be a fun match between Seton and I because he's going to outdrive me by 100 yards every time. But I'm kind of going to make up for it as the shots go along. I think it'd be fun to play AT and see what happens. It'd be a good time. Dan, I don't think would participate because I think it'd be so ugly that he wouldn't watch it.
Well, we're not so sure out here that Paulie has a solid case because as we see here, this is Paulie doing his best Spalding. Retard. Oh. Fritzy, do you think you can hold your own against Paulie watching this?
You know what? As bad as those particular shots are, I've seen my share of good shots that Paulie's taken, and unfortunately, I have to admit that even if Paulie was hitting every shot like that, he'd still find a way to get in the hole faster than I would.
I skipped that right. If you can't see it there on the screen, I hit it about 100 miles an hour on almost a direct right angle. I killed everybody. I mean, it was bad.
90 degrees.
Yes.
Paulie's golf game defying physics. Well, we went to the golf expert, the boss, to weigh in on this. Let's see what he said in this edition of The Boss's Thoughts.
No, it's a blatant lie. Seton's a better golfer than Paulie. Paulie's better than Fritzy. Did he say he was the second best Danette golfer? Maybe that's what he meant, because that's true. He's better than McLovin, certainly better than Fritzy, not better than Seton. So if that's what Paulie said, then yeah, I'll agree with that. But he's not the second best golfer in the building.
Yeah, that's not what I said. I said I'm the second best golfer in the room to Dan. I think what Dan is discussing is the look of my golf swing, which is not pretty at all. I would say McLovin's probably got a better looking golf swing. But the job is to score, put your best score out there. And, Dan's not a golf expert. He plays a lot. But it's not about the look of the swing. It's about where the ball goes.
I think the other thing, too.
Whoa. You're calling out Dan's golf knowledge?
He's a bang-around golfer like everybody else. And he does have a good eye for the game, and he likes golf a lot, but I never saw him on the tour.
The other thing that's interesting, too, is that you're very hard-pressed for Paul to say that he's second to any Danette in anything, regardless of what it is.
Right.
So there's part of that to figure out in as well.
Yeah, I probably, would I put money on me? If I were someone outside the building, would I put money on me against Seton? I would advise that, but I'm never going to say I think I'm going to lose. But if you said if I played Dan, he'd smoke me. I mean, he knows what he's doing on the golf course.
All right, well, drive for show and putt for dough. Paulie's a gamer. I like it. Coming up, a Hall of Famer curses on national TV. Plus, we'll see who the Danettes looked up to when they were young. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Box Score. From the links to the dime in this segment, Cal Ripken Jr. joined the show today. Seton, were you a little uneasy about DP asking whether he or Jeter was the better shortstop?
A little bit, because I just didn't want Cal to be put on the spot, and it's sort of an awkward question because Cal knows the truth too, and we would all want Jeter's question. It was just a matter of how honest he could be with himself, and I'm glad that he was able to be.
Paul, you're laughing. What's going on?
I think it's great that Dan asked that kind of question, and even better that Cal gave the real answer. Whose career would you want? You'd want Jeter's. He had more rings. Yeah. Now, does he think that Jeter's technically a better baseball player? No, he doesn't. But he's also not a cocky guy where he's going to demean Jeter in some way.
The boss did have some fun with Cal when he mentioned his speed on the base paths during his playing days.
You guys were similar with Gold Gloves, I think. I think you both won a couple. You had, I think, did you even have 40 steals in your 21 years?
Probably not.
How many, Paulie, how many did Cal have?
36.
30, yeah, 30. Can you name all your stolen bases there, Cal?
No. They were busted 3-2 runs. The guy swung and missed, and I went, oh shit, and the pitcher threw it away.
I love that. I mean, if you were going to make a list of the last 3 guys who we think would swear on air on national TV and radio, Cal would be amongst them. Now, what if Tony Dungy started going MF, MF the next segment? Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, Cal Ripken's the biggest good guy in one of the biggest good guys in sports history. So I love that he swore and it went through and got past the goalie. God bless him.
Oh, you weren't able to dump him, Paulie, on radio?
No, unfortunately, I don't have a dump button.
Okay, well, good. It got through. Ripken's career got the boss's mind racing, and he went to you guys for some help on some research.
Who was the third baseman who replaced Ripken in the lineup that night? Are you guys Googling this?
Ryan Miner?
Ryan Miner. There you go.
We're trying to make sure we had it right.
Was Ryan Miner out of Oklahoma?
Well, he was the basketball player turned baseball player, right?
Out of Oklahoma? Is this on? Hello? Guy's staring at
He's
me.
from Canton, Ohio. Born in Canton, Ohio.
Okay, did he go to Oklahoma?
He did.
And then he did go to
Good
Oklahoma.
God. There must be a delay here of about 60 seconds. What is surrounded by morons, Alex?
Yeah, that's when we don't get an answer to Dan as quickly as we'd like, and it's certainly not through a lack of effort. It looks like we're either not paying attention or we're not trying.
Well, honestly, I thought you had that one. I looked over your screen and you had a replacement, and then there was I can read your screen here. It said, who replaced Cal Ripken at third base? And it was a link. And instead of clicking on it, I saw Fritzy scroll around, then go over to Deadspin or something completely different.
I thought I had it, and I wasn't sure. We wanted to be, absolutely, accurate with it. So part of it is wanting to make sure and double check before we give Dan an answer that's not right. Part of it is, Dan thinks whether, I don't think that's accurate if we don't get it to him within a matter of seconds that we're not fully paying attention or we're not, we're not looking it up or what have you. But, we're certainly trying. Some of his requests are more reasonable than others. The ones he asked for today, we should have maybe found a little faster. Other times he comes up with an idea and asks us for something, and it requires actually a stats department to try to find that type of information. It doesn't take 3 to 5 seconds to respond.
There were times that when we all worked at ESPN, that Dan would be in the middle of the show, sort of like that, and he would all of a sudden be like, hey, can you find out how many called third strikes there were on a curveball in Game 7 of the World Series? And you'd be like, okay. And you would call the stats department and relay that message, and they would be like, all right, cool, when do you need this? I'd be like, I don't know, 5 minutes? And they'd be like, we're thinking next week. And Dan's like, hello, where's the stat? Like, I don't know if the stats department can't come up with it. I'm sure as hell not going to be able to.
Brock, I'm kind of proud of us because instead of giving Dan a bunch of false information or incorrect information, we waited 3 or 4 seconds and then gave him the right information. Well, one thing I've noticed that Fritzy's done over time is that, let's say Dan asked for whatever fact it is. Fritzy will go to the absolute first website that pops up on his screen and relay that information. And I've noticed it before because I'll get that first website, I'll look at and the website's like nottruefacts.com, and Fritzy's just rattling off information. I'm like, Fritzy, just pump the brakes for 2 seconds.
Remember when I told you 1991? That might have been 1976.
Yes.
So apologize for that. We batted 321, not 249.
Well, not only did you guys have trouble interacting with DP, apparently the callers decided to get in on the act.
Rick in Kentucky. Hey, Rick, welcome to the program.
Long time, first time, 3 spins, 511. You gonna ask me a question or let me make a comment?
You can make a comment, Rick. Go ahead. Rick. Thank you, Rick. Win in North Carolina. Hey, Win. What? I'm not supposed to ask you a question.
He was annoyed about it, too.
I know.
Like, are you going to ask me a question?
Sorry, Rick. I'm not quite sure what I would ask you. I haven't met you before.
Sorry I interrupted you. Oh, man, I don't know. There's really no way to explain it. Sometimes callers are really interesting. The uncomfortable spot, though, is being the guy who screens the calls. And we've all been in that position, and all of a sudden the host or the producers turn around and look at you like, dude, what are you doing? Why do you let that guy on? And there's nothing you can do. I mean, you try the best you can to sort of screen them and be like, hey, all right, you coach them a little bit. Hey, why don't you say this? But don't worry about that. It's not that good or whatever. And then as soon as they click in, it's like all hell breaks loose sometimes.
And I love the way Dan handled it. It's like, I'm not really supposed to, no, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to ask you. I don't really know you all that well, what kind of question you're
Dan should have a list of questions for random callers. Like, all right, so who is your favorite baseball player or something?
Brock, as it's going on, all I'm thinking is this sounds like the guy from Texas who called into talk radio was yelling at Eric Bogosian's character, who sounded really, really angry. He was like an intense guy, and it was just one of the 3 funniest calls I've ever heard on this show.
Well, what happened? Did Seton dump him?
No. Dan said take care, and that means Seton dumped.
Well, that dude just kind of got lost. I mean, Dan was like, all right, go ahead, say something. And they didn't say anything. So we gave him a good, 4 or 5 seconds to like, all right, buddy, spit it out, whatever he had to say. And then he wasn't there, so we got rid of him.
He's still on hold.
Yeah.
Well, if he has DirecTV, please call the show back. Coming up, we'll see how Seton is holding up during the Captain Swan song, and we'll get a little white and nerdy with McLovin. Don't move.
All right, Mike and Bensonhurst, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, what do you think of Derek Jeter announcing his retirement?
Well, let me put it to you like this. He'll pack his bags for good in September. Zero regrets, a million cheers. And we're going to obsess all season till then. You know what? I think it's going to be a long, long time till Cashman fills the hole he left behind. A-Rod's not half the man you ever were. Oh, no, no, no. You're a Capitan. A Capitan. The Yanks' hearts are going to be dark without you and Mo. Yeah. And I think it's going to be a long, long time. And I think it's going to be a long, long time.
Welcome back to the Box Score. Mike Francesa working a little overtime there, back with a nice tribute to the captain right there. Seton, how are you handling Jeter's farewell season in the majors?
I'll tell you what, last night when he got hit in the hand, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? He's going to be out right now because he's got a broken hand. That being said, it might actually be a really long season because if the Yankees are going to sort of blow it out every time Jeter, you know, the whole introduction and thing, and I don't know, it might wear on you a little bit.
With an injured hand, how will he brush the hair away from the face of the models? Poor Jeter. No doubt Jeter was an inspiration to Seton, but was he his childhood hero? I think this is a perfect opportunity to play another round of...
Yo! Yo!
Let's begin in the back row. McLovin, who was Fritzy's childhood hero?
I'm going to go with your father.
Ooh. Let's see. Was it Fritzy's father?
Childhood hero, I guess, would be John Elway and Nolan Ryan. If I had to pick one, I would say Elway. But those are my two sports heroes. Now it just made me feel horrible that I didn't pick my dad over a couple.
Not even top two. Dad didn't make top 10.
I'm like, I feel totally humiliated. My dad passed away in '91, and now I'm a mess.
Dude,
I'm a big Bronco fan since like the mid-'70s, and then once Elway blew off the Yankees and Colts to join Denver, and especially winning Super Bowls, John Elway, and I still love my dad very much, and thanks. Thanks for that, McLovin.
All right, at least hopefully he's top 10.
I'm sorry.
Front row, Seton. Who do you think Paulie picked?
Walter Payton.
Oh, let's see. Was it Sweetness?
My childhood hero, he should have been yours as well, Walter Payton.
Yeah, I thought about picking my dad, and I chose not to. It wasn't an omission. I chose Walter Payton over my father.
Oh, the rushing master.
You might as well have asked me, hey, Seton, who's the other guy who sits in the front row with you? The question was that easy.
That's what we call a short putt in golf. Back to Fritzy. What did McLovin say?
I was wavering with his Philly roots between Mike Schmidt and Wilbert Montgomery, but I know he's going to end up coming up with some author or artist or someone that I would have no idea that he would be guessing. So let's see. I'll stick with one of the Philly sports here and see what happens.
Which one?
I'm going to go with Mike Schmidt.
Was it
someone from the Phillies?
The blabbering, crying third baseman, Mike Schmidt.
My childhood hero was my dad. Great guy. Really learned a lot from him about what it means to be a good person.
You just did it to me twice. Double father discomfort. Was that your way of giving me the hint of what my answer should be?
It wasn't Ivan de Jesus or some Philly. It wasn't
Ron
like
Hextall.
It wasn't closer Steve Pedrosa.
If I felt bad before, no, I'm fine. your father.
Yeah, the right answer. There's only one answer for the question. Paulie gets an exception. It was a Walter Payton, but
yeah, I was going to say
anyone who doesn't say their father here is just a jerk.
I was going to say Larry Bowa or Ron Hextall.
Wilbur Montgomery, you know, Dad, I love you, but I really love Wilbur Montgomery more.
Del Unser, I don't know, Bake McBride. It's bad. It's bad. I apologize. It's bad.
Tolstoy, Judy Blume. I mean, who do we go with? Okay, and finally, Paulie, who did Seton choose? Was it Mr. Jeter?
Here's the thing. I've been sitting here for the past 5 minutes, and I know the answer, and I'm blanking out on his name. And I know it's not Ricky Henderson.
Oh, I know.
And I'm thinking, I don't need hints.
Can I jump in? No.
Gary Gaetti. It's Gary.
Gary Gaetti.
Ken Herbeck.
Oh,
I'm so close. And I'm gonna.
I know
put a gun in my mouth.
Andrew Gaze.
Can I guess, Brock?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I mean, do you want to give points to the front row? Sure.
Oh, I knew it was
He's going in for the steal. Oh, my goodness.
I knew it was some unathletic, slow, power-hitting former Yankee.
Let's see if anyone was right here.
Oh, man. I would have to say Ricky Henderson. I could actually say Ricky Henderson was not only my hero, but he probably cost me my sports career in a lot of ways because I was doing things so unnaturally just to be like him that I had no chance of actually being good at anything. True story, the only reason that Ricky Henderson was my favorite player, or the way he became my favorite player, my brother was a huge Don Mattingly fan who was number 23, and my brother was born on June 23rd. So I thought you kind of had to pick a player that had the number of your birthday. And Ricky Henderson was on the Yankees and he was 24. And so that's why I picked Ricky Henderson, because he was the 24 guy.
Today, Ricky Henderson is the best Bayless Taylor of all time. And the winning row is the front row. Again, no prizes. Enjoy that. Okay, coming up, time to get out the calculators and protractors as we get tangled up in some ivy here on the box score. Stick around. Welcome back to the box score. Last call here at the box score bar. Get your drink orders in now. McLovin, there was a recent story about a 17-year-old high school student who got accepted into all 8 Ivy League schools. How great an achievement is that in nerd history?
Nerd history, it's pretty good, but that guy's a show-off. I don't like him. I didn't get rejected by most of the Ivy League schools because I didn't apply to them. Brock, basically, there's a T-shirt that you get at Dartmouth that makes fun of the other Ivy League schools. If you'll indulge me for a moment, there's some off-color thing, but we make fun of all the other schools, like Penn, like University of Pennsylvania, Penn State. What's the difference?
Oh, snap.
Yeah, Brown, is that a color or a college?
Whoa. Wow.
Cornell, at Dartmouth. At Dartmouth, we look at rocks and trees. At Cornell, we impale ourselves upon them. That's not as fun.
That's like a nerd drive-by.
Yeah.
Talking
serious smack talk.
Okay.
You don't want to know what we say about Yale.
McLovin, how many of the Elite 8 schools do you think Seton, the college dropout, and recently re-enrolled, can name? You gave him some.
I just gave away a bunch. I say you can name 6.
6 is the number, Seton.
And I have to name Ivy League schools?
Yes.
Yale, Harvard, Cornell, Dartmouth, Stanford, Brown.
Is that all of them?
Penn. Did I say Yale and Harvard?
Southern Illinois.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Ooh, your state of New Jersey.
I think you skipped Columbia.
Oh, I said Stanford.
Oh, you said Stanford. I don't think you did Columbia.
I don't know if you said Princeton.
Columbia.
Yeah, but Columbia doesn't
Princeton.
really
I should have
count.
known Princeton. Whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
I can tell you this.
Big deal.
Neither Seton or I got rejected by any of those schools.
Not a single one.
I had Brown. I was going to on a theater scholarship. Fritzy, who's on tomorrow?
By the way,
our friend Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, Jim Parsons, on his very strong Celebrity Challenge bracket. And we'll also be joined by our friend Rich Eisen of the NFL Network as well. And we'll see what else we can come up with as well.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for watching The Box Score. Tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, only on Audience Channel 239, right here on DirecTV. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the box score. Holy cow!